Hi YouTubers, Chris Willer here from Notes from a Vagabond. Today I'm making a little movie about fence building. I filmed most of it before. I helped a friend frame up the back, his back fence. But I thought I'd just go quickly through the steps of what it takes to build a fence. Fence building is, it's hard physical work. It's not highly skilled. You don't have to be highly skilled, but it is very physical and demanding. So I'm just going to run through the basic steps, and then if you want to watch the rest of the movie, you can. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is order your materials. Where I live, Central California, most of the fences I build, I set a post every 8 foot. I have a top rail, bottom rail, and usually 1x8 boards. But whatever type of fence you're going to build, you got to figure out your material. Usually it's nice to order it, have it delivered, dropped on the site. After you get your materials, the tools that you're going to be using, some of the tools are, you need a hammer, cat's paw, a string line, speed square, torpedo level, maybe some gloves, marking device, pencil, Skilsaw, sawzall or a chainsaw. Usually I use a chainsaw, post hole diggers, and a big bar, and you want to get power to your site. So those are some of the basic tools you're going to need. So the first thing you want to do when you get to the job site, or the way I do it when I build the fences, I want to take down the old fence. I want to clear the line. So I'll take either a sawzall or a chainsaw, and I'll just cut the top and bottom rails and just move the sections out of the way. I don't want to do any cleanup now. I just want to get the old fence out of the way and clear a line. So I'll cut the sections, move them, cut the posts if I need to down at the bottom. Stake in one side down to the other side. Let's say it's a 100-foot fence. Set 2 stakes or tie it to the old fence. Pull my string, usually about 18 inches off the ground. I want a real nice straight line. After I set my line, I mark where my holes are going to go approximately every 8 foot, and then I dig my holes either with a post hole digger, or if I got a lot of holes to dig, I'll go rent a post hole auger. It's usually a 2-man machine, so you can dig your holes. My holes are usually 8 inches around, approximately like 24 inches deep every 8 foot. After I set my string, lay out my holes, the next thing I'll do is I'll dig my holes, post hole digger or with the auger. And then after I got all my holes dug, that's the hardest part of the job usually for me. Then I'll come and I'll set my post. I'll put a post in, and then I'll plumb it up. You'll see this in the movie. Plumb it up, set it with dry concrete mix, fence post mix actually. So after I set all my posts, I straighten them out, I have them in a real nice straight line. Then I'll come back and I'll establish my top, where my top rail is going to go. And then I'll pull this string from end to end of where I want my top rail to go. Maybe it's a level fence, maybe it goes from one end of the property down to another, maybe it goes in steps, but I'll lay this string out so I'll know where I want to top my post. I'll come back and I'll top my post with the speed square, top them. Then after all the posts are topped, I come back with my 2x4 rails and frame it up, top, bottom, however you're framing it. After it's all framed up, I stick on my boards. After I got the whole fence built, I come back, I straighten it all out. I check the posts that they're plumb, water down the posts with some water, usually go along with a garden hose and wet them all down. And then after the fence is done, that's when I do my cleanup. So that's a basic, quick, rough rundown of what it takes to build a fence. If you want to watch more, I got the whole movie. Making a movie is kind of shaky at times. I'm working, I'm trying to film myself, but it goes into a little more detail. Anyway, so if you enjoyed this movie or found it useful, you can give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment. I always like to hear from people. If you want to support these videos, you can click on one of the links down below. Purchase something from Amazon, I'll get a tiny commission. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. Hey YouTubers, Chris Willett here from Notes from a Vagabond. Hope everybody's having a good day, not working too hard. Today I will be working too hard. I'm going to help a friend redo his fence, build a new fence. I once was a fence builder for a short period of time, so I got pretty good at how to build them. So I'm making a little video how to build a fence. Hope you enjoy it. I got my sunscreen on. I didn't have it on a couple days ago and got burnt real bad, but that's me. I always forget to do that. So step one is you want to clear the fence line. By that you want to remove the old fence. So we got about 75 feet of fence to do here. So we're going to, first thing you want to do is just clear a line. Remove the old fence, get everything out of the way so you can pull a string so you know where to set your post. So the first thing I do is I tear down the whole fence, just kind of stack it to the side. Then I get a line. I just clear a line, and then I put up my string. You probably can see the string here. I put up my string, make sure it's nice and straight, make sure nothing's touching it, no weeds or anything, pull it, and that's where my posts are going to go. And then I go and I mark with my hammer. I just put a little mark in the ground. The fences I build around where I live, I space them. My posts are 8 foot apart, so I put the mark at 7'10". I always like to have a little wiggle room. You can always get into, if you put them exactly 8 foot, a lot of times that doesn't work out because when you dig your holes, you might hit a rock or have to move it one way or the other. So after I've established my line and laid out where the posts are going to go, next is I got to dig the holes. What I use is a post hole digger and a big breaker bar, big steel, about 5 foot breaker bar. So I know where my hole is going to go. I just push the line away. I want to leave that up. I just start digging away. This is the hardest part of the job. I sit here, I break up the soil until I get a scoop of dirt. Drop it. So I want my hole to be approximately 8 inches in diameter and close to 2 foot deep. That's for where I live in California. That's, you know, every place is a little different, every region or state or whatever. But where I live, 8 inches round, 24 inches deep, or 20 to 24 inches deep is where from the lowest part of the dirt. So I got down about 16 inches and then the ground started getting real hard, so I got to get out the breaker bar like this. Start just breaking it up for a little bit. Now I'll get the pulse hole diggers, clean it out, and then do this again until I get down to my 24 inches. Here's our hole. I'm telling them, here's another hole. So the holes are all dug all along here. That's so nice to get that over with. Now we can, next we'll set our post, frame it up, straighten it out. Okay, YouTubers, it's the next day. We had the material delivered, so the first thing we're going to do is spread out the material. We'll drop a post in each hole, put a bag of cement right by it, start laying the rails out. So it's all kind of spread out, so it's easy to just grab and go. You got all the poles in the holes, all your cement laid out. Next thing you want to do is set your post to your line, and it's much easier with 2 people. Now when I build a fence, I use fence post concrete. It's different than cement. So to set your post, you want to stick it in the hole, and then you want to use a little torpedo level, stick it on your post here, and as soon as the post touches the string, that bubble should be in the middle. It should be perfectly plumb. So once you get it plumb, you have your buddy go pour in the fence post mix as you hold it.
You ready?
Yep. Get it all around there. Wiggle the post a little bit. Then you want to back off your post a little bit so it's not touching the string, because you're going to set the rest of your posts the same way. You can come back and top off the cement, but for now you want to just get the bottom set so when it's plumb, it's touching your line. Okay, so we set up our top string. We established the point at one end, pulled it all the way to the other. So that's going to be where we top our post. So we accounted for there's going to be a 2x4 on top. How far down our boards are going to overhang the top of the top 2x4 by 6 inches. So I'm going to show you how I mark my post. So I just come here with a speed square, a pencil, go up till I just touch that line, mark it, go up, mark the other one, because you're going to have to top a post, you usually come both ways. Mark it there, go to the next one, do the same thing, all the way down. That's it.
Filming.
Okay.
Action.
Okay, I gotta gather myself. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is top the post. This pressure treated is really nasty material, so it's good to wear a dust mask, especially when it's blowing like this. So the way I top, I just come in here, follow my line. And you got your top. Just like that, go down the whole line, and you're done. Okay, so we set our top rail. We topped our post, set our top rail. It's nice using 16 2x4s on top, so you only get a splice every other post. The important thing when you're setting your top, you also double check that your posts are plumb. So before you put any screws in, you make sure your post is plumb. And then after you've set your top rail, I'll get my tape here. So after this establishes my line, this fence kind of slopes from front to back. So then after I establish my top post, I measure down. In this case, it's going to be 62¼ inch. I make a mark for this side of the post and this side of the post. I just take a speed square, mark it, and go around the post. So now I know where the top of my bottom rail is going to go. I like when I build a fence, I want the bottom rail on edge. I don't like it flat. It's stronger if it's on edge. So that's how I'm going to build this fence. Every fence is a little different. Just depends what kind of fence you're doing. But in this case, I'll mark all my posts for the top of the bottom rail, and now I'm going to go back and put in the bottom rail. So how I do that, now I got the marks all marked. I'll put this 2x4 there, I'll hold it up over here, I'll scribe the edge right there, then I'll take my Skilsaw, cut it, and then place it. That's about it. Okay, so pretty much got the fence framed up, put in the bottom rail, and then from the bottom rail, for the kick, I went 1 3/4 inches down. You know, so before I put the kick in, I usually top off my post, clear a little bit, and then I'll put in the kick. But this is it, pretty much framed up. This gap here is where a gate's going to go, but James is going to finish that on his own. He's also putting these cleats in to add a third rail that he wants just for extra stability. But that's about all I'm going to be filming here. This is how you frame a fence. The last part would you just stick your boards on here and nail them on, which is real easy, but I won't be around for that part. Anyway, you want to say anything, James? Was this a fun experience? Or is just a pain in the ass working with that Chris guy?
Well, it's a pain in the ass occasionally, but overall,
yeah, was this pretty fun?
Yeah.
Funner than you thought?
So we should probably take